honestly a little lost. We still can't figure.
With my broken dress. I'd like to introduce Dawn, who is the head coordinator for the UK indiefest, and where we will be speaking this year. So, yeah, tiny audience, if you guys would like audience, if you guys would like to come here with some lunch, have a play, because we'd love to see you.
Hi, everybody. I've been asked to talk by the ladies today about the beginnings of the UK Indie Lit Fest and the challenges that I feel that we've come up against, and also how we've influenced the United Kingdom's literature scene. So I felt a bit like this was an assignment. And I was back at university, which is fine because I like writing. So a little bit more about me. First and foremost, I'm a reading addict. I read lots of different genres. My first publication when I was in middle school, and I was about 10 or 11 and going through an angsty teenage poetry phase that we all go through. I had my work submitted and it went into a children's anthology. This is my first taste of what I wanted to do really with my life. A few years later in secondary school, so secondary school, I don't know if it's different over in America, at the time started at 13 and ended at 16. So I was probably about 13 or 14, wrote 2 books, promptly threw them in the bin because I thought, what a load of rubbish, no one wants to read those. Didn't return to writing for probably till about 2005, went to university, got my degree in counselling and psychology, had 3 children, was working, so pretty busy. So I in 2005 I started writing my first book, which was Regina the Monster Inside. Finished that in 2010. By 2014 it had been picked up by a small publishing house, and since then I've gone on to launch my own small publishing house and create the UK Indie Lit Fest. I thought about the idea of the Lit Fest back in 2016, and the reason that I came up with the idea is I was thinking about events that my authors could do who are signed to my label, and I was constantly hitting a brick wall. And it was always, how many books have you sold already? Which publishing house are you with? What events have you done? Have you done workshops in the past? Can you prove how many people came to these workshops? And it was just an endless list of, basically, we don't want you unless you're from the Big Four, and unless you're a bestseller, which to me was ridiculous, because how do you become a bestseller and build a fan base if nobody will exhibit your work? So I recognised that there was a gap there. So I was talking to one of our authors, actually, Chris Turnbull, at the launch of his debut novel, and I was talking to him about this and how difficult it all was, and I was kind of saying we should just do our own. I should just do my own. So that's what I did, basically, and the idea just snowballed. I started putting feelers out on social media. That was the first thing I did. Was I knew quite a lot of people in the author community, and I put feelers out on social media to see what people thought of my basic idea. So the concept was, it was earlier and it's kind of still pretty much the same, is that it's a festival where authors don't have to have a rigorous process to be accepted. The event's free to the public. And the idea behind that was, if people are coming out and supporting us. And if people are wanting to support authors by buying their books on the day, we don't want to be slamming them for money on the way in. So we plan to have around 20 authors on our first round of the UK Indie Lit Fest. We had workshops, we had readings, and we had international authors Skyping from all over the world, ready for readers to grill them or to have a friendly chat. So the idea itself sounds pretty simple. Funding not so much. So the first year was very, very tight. My own publishing company and another small publishing company called Cillian Press, an author friend of mine, twisted their arm, and we provided between us most of the funding. So I'd established already some good contacts in the media, but unfortunately, despite my pleas for funding, no more was forthcoming. So my dreams of a really beautiful grand venue in a central location in the city just didn't happen in the first year. So it was very difficult to bring us into the public eye. We had local coverage, but most of our advertising of the event was done via Facebook, through bloggers that we knew, Twitter and Tumblr and things like that. Anything and anyone who would support us, basically, we would throw adverts at them. But it's always a bit of a fingers crossed job, I think, when you first start something. And it's a case of hopefully people will catch the spirit of what you're doing and want to be involved and want to turn up. But it's still nerve-wracking. So in that first year, I lost a heck of a lot of sleep in the months leading up to it. We did promotion the week before, which was really fun. We had some good press advice from someone who worked in a local radio station, and she suggested we do promotional for an event the week before, which was really fun because we all got to dress up as characters from books and run around the city square, and we had children chasing us, which was lovely, and they all got to win like books and things at the end, which was really cool. So with a massive project like this, obviously, even though there's fun parts of it, it's a lot of hard work. So I myself work full-time in a school, the same school I worked in 2016. So I work with children with specialist behaviour and emotional needs. So I have to be really organised, which is a real challenge for me, because anyone who knows me knows that I'm really not organised at all. So I have to dedicate my evenings, weekends, school holidays to this festival. So needless to say, my husband and kids have to be very supportive and understanding. It can be really daunting, I think, doing something like this, and it's really kind of terrifying in a way to launch something this big, because I did want it to be big, I didn't want it to be small, with little to no budget, and hoping authors would show up and hoping that visitors would come. When you look around at the big lit festivals in the UK, they've been established for years. So you start to think, can we compete? Yes, it's unique. But will it be sustainable year after year? And of course, the whole time I'd hold doubts running through my head, all these things that I was worrying about, but of course, still got to be confident and reassured for the authors who were attending the festival. So first year was a really tough one. But something that was really cool and unexpected, that while I was doing all this planning and tearing my hair out over having no money, I created, when we were creating a presence for the festival online, I decided to create a private group for the authors and for the volunteers who are participating. And the initial thought was it might be a good idea for them, a place where I can put information that they needed for the day, but that the public didn't necessarily need. And also it'd be a chance for them to get to know each other a little bit before the day. And what was really good was that people started supporting each other, they started celebrating each other's success, they started building friendships. Another really cool aspect of our festival is that we have our volunteers. They call themselves the Indie Army. Well, we named them the Indie Army. So they're not just volunteers; they're recruits as well. They want to be there, and it's just really brilliant, the kind of atmosphere that they brought. All the authors who came on the first year said how helpful they were. We had teenagers really who should have been out on a Saturday with their friends, and proudly with the Indie Lit Fest t-shirts with Indie Army on the back, running around helping authors, helping public, and it was just a really lovely atmosphere. Most of those volunteers have come back. They'll be coming back again for their third year. And a really brilliant thing as well is that a lot of the authors that are coming this year as well, they're the ones who came with us. They came in originally in 2016. At the end of it, they were saying, are you doing it again next year? Can we come back? And that really made everything worth it, really. Since then, I've realised it can't really be a one-woman show. I can't physically do it. So I realised that if the festival's going to get bigger, then so does the organisation. So we are now what's called a CIC company, which is a community interest company, which is, it's similar to a charity, but the difference is that we have to have some kind of something about us which makes us beneficial to a particular community, which for us it's for authors, and that meant that we had to set up as directors, which meant I've got another 3 people helping me which is really, really cool. So I've got 3 directors like myself who are authors. One of my authors for Follow This Publishing, Chris Turnbull, and I've got Joe Kipling, and then I've got Sue Sari, who they're all people I've worked with before, people who know what I want to do with the festival, and they can help me with the workload, which is really, really lovely. So with them on board, the second year was bigger, better. People have begun to talk about us. We had nice write-ups on the news after, online. And the funny thing was, before I'd kind of started, as soon as the first one had stopped, everyone thought it was really funny because they said you need to take some time off. I ran home and planned the whole thing on the whiteboard for the next year to get it out of my head. And about a few days later, Ingram Spark contacted us and said, we've been looking for a unique indie-only festival, and yours is the only one in the UK. So we'd like to be involved, and we'd really like to sponsor you. So it was like, ooh, money, lovely. That will do, and that's really good. We were really excited about that because they're huge advocates for authors and giving them a leg up in their career, which is what we want to do. Lots of authors were really excited when they came to the festival last year because they had lots more information about publishing, about print on demand, about all the things that some people there who weren't with publishing houses but were publishing themselves. It was really beneficial for them. So that's really great, and they're coming back again this year. And of course, with their funding, we got my dream location. It was in the city centre, and it's an art gallery as well as other things. So it's just a gorgeous place. We had nearly 40 authors in attendance, as well as big names joining us from all over the world. So in the second year, we had authors from, off the top of my head, US, Canada, Australia, and France. I'm sure there's more than that. So that was really exciting. I think that one important thing that I've learned from this is learning to be a bit fearless and just going for it and just doing it. When I was doing this task and when I was looking for guests that I wanted to Skype in the very first year in 2016, I had my sights set on Kendara Blake. I don't know if anybody's heard of her. She's a huge deal in the writing world at the moment, and her Anna Dressed in Blood's book has been optioned for a movie by Fickle Fish Films, which is Stephanie Meyer's company, the author of Twilights and The Host and Chemist. So I'm completely expecting to be knocked back, to be ignored, or just not to return my message, but we ended up having a lovely conversation. And she said that if she didn't have anything booked, then she'd be happy to do it. So that was really, really exciting. What I really liked was the fact that I didn't fangirl too much because I'm an Uber fan. So that was a worry. So the third year is going the third year planning is going really, really well. We've got over 30 authors coming over, as well as the ladies. Jade and Dee will be coming, so that's going to be so exciting. They were there by Skype last year, this year in person. I think the most important thing that the UK Indie Lit Fest has done is supporting the little guys as well as the big guys. And we've shown authors all over the UK that you don't need to be J.K. Rowling or Stephanie Meyer or John Green or Patrick Rothfuss. You can be starting out with just a good book, and we will give you a leg up. So thank you for listening. I'm done talking now.
Virtually or here.
It's not a question. I just wanted to say that I had never heard of Indifest, and that I really want to go there. And that I was actually thinking while you were speaking, okay, can I book tickets?
Well, actually, yeah, tickets are around $700 round trip right now.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I was
you're
wondering, can I do that? Could I expect that in July?
But did you tell us the date?
It's on the 28th, Saturday 28th of July.
Okay. Oh, right, because I'll be there. I was like, why don't I? Because I'm coming to York. This will be our first time there. Of course, as always, I do. So how can US, but we have to answer them quickly because Christine Yarrow, one of my favorite authors, is coming in, and like my most favorite author is here. So rush along. You're my most favorite author. I love you too, you're awesome. Okay. But quickly, how can US authors, do you accept US authors, obviously, but how can they apply if you do?
So US authors at the moment can take part in a couple of ways, apart from travelling over there, which is a bit of a costly affair. One way is we have an international authors table where their books can be ordered before and they can be sold there. Then we have authors who Skype in as well. So the way to apply to that would be to go to our website, which is ukindielitfest.com. And there's something on there about what you do to apply. It tells you how to participate and it tells you what you need to send.
Okay, my second and third question are me. My second question is, do you ever accept traditional people? And if so, can my favorite author come?
We do have traditionally published people. The authors from my publishing house come. There's another few small publishing houses that are there, and obviously we've got Kandara Blake, who she's traditionally published as well. But generally, it is mostly all indies. So generally it is, but we do have the big guys as well. They're just the small guys, don't number them, that's all.
Yeah. Thank you so much. My last question wasn't a question, it was just a statement, by the way. Hope you enjoyed your mention on ABC. Saw the...
I didn't even notice it. I didn't get a chance to look at it. And then I saw it, I was like, ah.
Brandy online would like to know where you... Oh, Carrie online would like to know where you were located because she has writer friends who would love to come.
Okay, so the Lit Fest is taking place in Bradford, which is in West Yorkshire. So that's where it is. And then again, if she goes to, I can put it in the chat as well, but if she goes to our website at ukindielitfest.com, it'll give you the address of the venue and everything like that, all the details.
Anything else? No. All right. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a presentation at the Inspirational Women in Literature Conference 2018 presented by the Anti-Thought Ladies.